Good evening, my brothers and sisters. How are you? Let's hope today everything will be fine. I am connected actually to the landline, so I hope today we are not going to have any kind of issues with internet, but it's always a challenge. I think it's part of my spiritual karma to always have issues with Facebook Live. So let's hope it will be good. I mean, prayers. Let's hope it's gonna work. Hello, Teresa. How are you doing? I'm very happy to be here, and it is working. Ooh, I'm excited. Anyway, before we start, I just wanna let you guys know that this Sunday, December 8th, at 2 p.m., I'm coordinating the project called Loving Bags for the Homeless here in Miami. And my friend Carla is coordinating the same project, Loving Bags for the Homeless, but in Broward County. So it's a blessing that this beautiful project is happening twice in 2 different locations in Miami, but it's also happening in New York City with my dear friends from Inner Enlightenment. So I am super excited that these beautiful loving bags, they are sharing a little bit of love in different locations. And I also heard that many people from different states in the United States are reproducing it. So it's just like, yay! Little by little, we are shedding love. So this is awesome, wonderful. Can you guys just confirm if you can hear me well? I hope so. But, you know, I never know. So I'm like, okay, I don't even move now because I'm afraid the internet, something, computer or something is gonna go crazy. So I hope everything is good. So why people are arriving? Hello, Matthew, how are you? Claudia Garces, hello, my dear. Claudia participated with me of another beautiful project that I created many years ago in New York. And now we are reproducing it in Miami, is the Christmas nursing home performance. So we just did this project last Sunday. It was very exciting. All the elderly, they were super happy to see a different variety show. We had music, we had dance, we had a little play, we had quadrilha from Brazil. So it was so much fun. It was great, and I'm super happy. I finally was able to find a big nursing home that was welcoming us with open arms. And now I have so many people that are joining, and the place enjoyed it so much that they came to ask me if we could do it more often, because I had said we do once a year in Christmas times, and they said, oh, we really would appreciate if you could do it again. But as you know, it's not easy to get a lot of people together. It's not easy to get a lot of volunteers to be able to, with their crazy agendas, to put everything together and volunteer their time, and it's far away. So I said, okay, let's do it again in June. So in June, we are coming back again. I'm super excited. Awesome. So if you are new or if you're listening for the first time, we always study this beautiful book. It's called Among Brothers of Other Lands. So we study this book for around 40 minutes. Then we study the Gospel according to Spiritism for around 20 minutes. So the whole class is for 1 hour, more or less. And I just would like to welcome all of you to ask questions, to make comments, because it makes it a little bit more interactive. And I would love to be able to see your faces. Would be so much more exciting. So I'm hoping soon Facebook or another kind of program is going to be able to allow this to be a little bit more entertaining and more exciting to all of us. So at this moment, I just wanted to remind you to have your water bottle, and we are going to do a quick initial prayer, and we can start the program, okay? Dear God, our Master Jesus, all the good spirits that always protect and guard us, please surround us with your love, your light. Help us to be able to connect with the enlightened spirits, so we will be able to read the text, understand, and most of all, fulfill it, putting it in practice on our daily basis. Thank you so much. So be it. We good? So let's go. We usually have the class every 2 weeks, but we had Thanksgiving, and by the way, I wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you were able to be with your families or with your friends, and you enjoyed not just the good food, but also the presence, the friendship, the enlightened conversations that we can always have. And this is really the most important thing for all of us. So today we are going to be studying chapter 13. It's a very short one. We were studying ones that were like 3 pages. This one is really 1.5. And so I will read, and then we can comment about it. And please post your questions or comments if you want to ask anything. It will be a pleasure that we can talk a little bit. Oh, loud and clear. Okay, Matthew, I thought you couldn't hear me loud and clear. I'm like, oh my God. Chapter 13, questions and answers. And this text is signed by Hilário Silva. So if you don't know who Hilário Silva was, Hilário Silva was a pseudonym or pseudonym in English of a friend of the spirit André Luiz. And they met in the spiritual realm, and they both were learning. They are both researching and learning how is the life in the spiritual realm, but especially in the lower zones. Why the people are there, what brought those spirits there, why are they going through different phases, why they are going through very heavy consequences. So this is the spirit that brings this message for us. And also, just to before we read, Hilário Silva, he brought some books for us through the mediumship of Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira also. And he was very well known for short texts, short little novels, and also poems. So that's exactly what he does here, a short story. In New York, among 2 friends, at the bench of the subway, in the long way from Times Square to Essex. So this is where the scene passes. What is your opinion about the government? Well, I think that we all should ask God for the safety of our government. What about the mayor? What can you tell me about the mayor? Evidently, he must be a good man. Oh, sorry. Evidently, he must be a good man with he must be a man with good intentions. Listen, have you ever listened anything about Peterson? Yes. Did you know he is a shark? I know he is a businessman. But are you informed that he is not honest? That I do not know of, because I do not know him that much. Do you still live close to Jimmy Davis? Yes, I do. What is your opinion about him. He's a good man, a hardworking man. Does he live well with his wife? It looks like. What do you think of a Crane, his next door neighbor? Excellent person. What about Joe Murray? Well, very good colleague. The asking friend was amazed, turned to the other one and asked him, is it true that you became a spiritist according to the gospel explained by Spiritism? Thanks God. The asking man made a gesture of so long and said in brave laugh, I knew it. It is not possible to make a conversation with a spiritist that pretends to interpret Jesus Christ. There is no way to establish any conversation. New York, USA, July 4th, 1965. That's when the mediums were able to psychograph this message. So, as you saw, very short text, and it's actually a funny conversation. So it's a conversation between two friends, and as you can see by the questions, one of the friends does, the one that asks all the questions, is always with some kind of negativity. Is trying to, almost like trying to impose his negative ideas into his own question, expecting the person is going to engage in the answer also negatively. As you can say, the answers, as you can see, the answers were all very positive. So he mentions men with good intentions, businessmen, I don't know about it. So the person answering the questions was really cutting short all the malevolence or all the negativity that were already intrinsic in the questions. So this is a very short text that reflects on our daily lives. How many times a week, a month, maybe a day, that you end up engaging in negative conversations? Let's think about. It happens much more than we realize. Happens all the time. We do not pay attention on it. Many times it's really a conversation, but nowadays the world is so different. We are always in internet, Facebook, and many different platforms in social media. And I don't have, but there is that one that people only write about it. Twitter, I think, Twitter. And people write all the time. And it's crazy because it's almost like a war all the time. Instead of people writing good things, yes, there are good things, thanks God. Everywhere there are good things. But nowadays, because of social media, it's almost like everyone is a very experienced critic. And any subject, anything, everybody is like a master. Everybody can talk about it. And sadly, sometimes very negatively, what is very bad. So for us, spiritists, that we are really trying to better ourselves, we have to be extra careful with this type of conversations. And we have to try the best possible to not engage in it, especially if it's a subject that really touches you, if it's a subject that you really don't like, or you really agree with that negativity. Because if someone is asking you something already with a negative tone, maybe that person knows you agree, or maybe that person is trying to bring this negative conversation within you. So we have to police ourselves and try to do our best to not engage in it. So if we go to the gospel according to Spiritism, in chapter 17, I believe, there is the moral person. You know, the title of the chapter is Be Perfect. And there are many, many items there, how one day in the future we will be able to be perfect. And one of the subjects is the moral person. So the moral person is that person that really tries so many different items to be good, you know, always looking into other people like they're looking into themselves, never doing something to somebody else that you don't want to happen to you. The moral person do not engage in negativity, do not feeds something that's not good. So that's how we have to try. We have to try hard to do it. Not easy, but we have to try. And it's a constantly try, because there are so many things that we are still unhappy about. And it's common because we live in the planet Earth. And this is not a regeneration yet. We are in the phase of regeneration, but a planet does not take like years or decades to change. It takes centuries. We don't know how many centuries or how many millions of years will take to planet Earth to get out of this phase of trials and expiations that we still feel very deeply, very heavy, to finally go into a more advanced one, to the regeneration one. And of course, for this to happen, all the people that live in the planet Earth have to go together. We have to go together. The planet cannot advance if the beings living there are stuck with something hindering them. So the population has to evolve, and the planet evolves together. So we're all evolving. So let me see if I see. Oh, hello, Saul. How are you? Thank you for your donation, my friend. I received. Thanks a lot. Super, super happy. Let me read some names here. Hipólito Rebolo. Hello, Hipólito. Nice to have you. Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa. How are you? Very good to see you here, Vanessa Celoni. So let's see. It was great, high energy, and much love. Yeah, Claudia is talking about the performance in the nursing home. Was super exciting. I absolutely loved it. Carla said, sorry, my dear, I forgot about the time. Yeah, Carla, I was actually in the beginning mentioning that we are doing 2 loving bags, and Inner Enlightenment is doing another one. So we are all doing together in the same weekend. It's a very busy weekend, and lots of loving bags are being produced. So this is an awesome thing. Hello, Elder. So Elder is the coordinator, one of the directors of Inner Enlightenment. He's coordinated this beautiful project, the Loving Bags in New York. Awesome, awesome to have all of you here. So my friends, as I mentioned to you, this chapter, much shorter chapter than the ones we are used to. So much shorter, much more direct, and I believe very easy for us to understand, because when you feed into something that's not good, you are going to end up being surrounded by that. So my good friend Eduardo Guimarães, that lives in Rio, many years ago, he told me that, for example, I always loved to dance, always. And I loved to go to clubs. So Eduardo is the one who told me, but Angie, you shouldn't be going to clubs anymore, because the energy of clubs is very heavy. And I'm like, how it's heavy? It's great. You go there, you dance, you burn calories, you have fun. And he said, yes, you do. But it's not only for that, the people are in clubs, because people are in clubs, they are single, they are searching for a partner, they are searching for boyfriend, girlfriend. Sometimes they are not single, sometimes they are married and they are looking into affairs. So lots of things can happen. And I was like, I don't think so. Forget about it. I love dancing. But I always went with a lot of people. I'm always with a lot of people. I love people, so I always have many groups. But then one time I went with much smaller group, and I think it was just me and two girlfriends. And this day I really felt the heavy energy. This was many, many years ago. I don't even go to clubs anymore, very rare. But I really felt it. And then I was like, oh, I understood, because it was that kind of environment that I was immersed in it, and I felt it. What I was thinking was like, if I am positive, it's not going to affect me. But this is if you're really a spirit that's more elevated, that if you're really able to go into heavy, dense fluids and leave untouched. So if you are a normal person that have ups and downs, maybe a little bit too down, it's a problem, because you might not be able to get out the same way you arrived, with many other things. He also mentioned about bars. I never drank. I drank very, very little. I never really enjoyed alcohol. And then I said, well, I have no problem. I never had problems with alcohol. And my friends like to go to bars. We go together, and then we go to somewhere else. And he said the same thing, be careful, because bars also have a very heavy energy. So you go there, you will feel the fluids, the negative or heavy fluids. And then one day, also many years ago, we went to a birthday of a friend, and this place was a bar restaurant. But we had to be in the bar waiting for a long time until the table was empty and we could go to the table. The period that I stayed in the bar, I started getting so sick, so exhausted, that when I finally reached to the restaurant area, I was already like really feeling bad, and I couldn't enjoy it. And then I was like, again, oh, that's what he used to mention, and I never believed. I think that my mind was not prepared to accept, or did not want to accept it. Or even I thought in a naive way, thinking that it wouldn't affect me, but it does. The same thing if you are a peaceful person, and suddenly a very bad issue happens, maybe with a very good friend of yours and somebody else. And these two start kind of having a discussion, a very heavy discussion. And you don't like any type of violence or fights or anything. So you try to separate your friend from that. But if by any reason your friend gives his view, his point of view, oh, this person did this and this and this, and you agree, and immediately you engage with that too. So in that moment, it's your friend and you against that person. So the things can start escalating much bigger. So we don't really fully know ourselves until something can trigger us. That's why it's so important, know thyself. That's why it's so important that we really understand who we are, because the external appearance or the external personality is one, but is your internal personality the same? Are you exactly the same all the time? Like, for example, I'm super happy, bubbly most of the time. But as my son always says, not all the time. So when I get nervous, when I get angry, my personality changes, even if quickly it changes. And then when I calm down, woof, I'm back again. So I already know this is my character default. I still have lots of things to work on myself, to understand my limitations, to understand where I have to work to improve, to become a better person, to become a bubbly Angie all the time, even when difficulties appear and issues and stress. I'm not saying that you have to be super happy when someone is fighting, but I'm saying that if you are happy, you will be able to manage the negativity, to cope with issues in a better way than if you were already a person with a heavy character that gets angry really quickly. So this is all important for us to be able to know ourselves. When we know ourselves, we understand our limitations. We understand also our qualities. We are able to balance it in a better way. So we are able to envision the future. I'm able to envision how can I work a little bit more to acquire more patience? How can I do this? How can I do that? And we need to understand, first of all, we need to understand our difficulties. If you don't know your difficulties, how are you going to work improving it? You can't. You can't. My dog is agreeing. My dog loves to communicate. That's why he's my dog. He's always like talking. So we have like a lot of communications. So I think these are the most important points of this very short text. And I deeply appreciate it. And I was really thinking about it. And I thought about reading another chapter, the 14, that's also short, but we never, ever, ever dedicate enough time to the gospel. We are always like rushing through it. And I understand that the many chapters are longer and that they require much more attention, and it's important. And the few chapter, I think was the last chapter, it was a very difficult one because it was talking about the suicide. So we needed more time to talk, and we needed to give it more attention. But this one, I believe it was short. And you guys didn't write anything. Come on, you have no comments, no questions. Okay, so I'm really good in explaining, or you're too shy even to write about it. Hello, Guilherme Charret. I believe it's your mom that's connected, isn't it? Carla, how are you? So if you don't have anything to ask, you don't have anything to add, let's move on to the gospel according to Spiritism, and then we can spend a little bit more time there. So the last time we were in chapter 5, and we read 2 items. We read, if he had been a good man, he would have died. And we also read voluntary suffering. So we already studied this. And today we are going to read number 24. Let's talk about it. The title is Through Misfortune. So when we, it's beautiful the way the Delphine of Girardin, Paris, 1861, brings this beautiful 2 pages message. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the message he brings to us is that when we are here in earth, incarnated, and you talk about, oh, it's a misfortune. So misfortunes for us are always something that makes us to be sad, makes us to to think about negative things, or a person that is very poor and is going through very difficult financial struggles, or is someone that has a disease and is going through a lot of issues, a lot of sufferings. And in our minds, these are true misfortunes. And they are relative misfortunes, as the Spirit explains, because our points of views are very short. They only see this lifetime. We only see one lifetime, that's it. We only see here. That's the only thing we see. And that's what we judge. It's almost like we just see the appearance and we judge. Yesterday, I was on Facebook and I was watching the channel of a YouTuber that I love. I love him. He is very young and super smart, and he dedicates his time to children with health issues, with some kind of disability. I'm terrible. I forget the name of everyone, so I don't remember his name. But I'm sure you probably already saw him. He's young, he's very handsome, has these beautiful big blue eyes, and he's always super positive, super happy, and he's super engaging. And he interviews all these kids with some kind of disability. And yesterday, I saw a video that he's interviewing this teenager. She's 15. And she has a disease that has a very complicated name. I don't even know how to say the name. It's a very long name. But it brings some kind of harshness in her skin. So it's almost like her skin is totally exfoliated. So she is very, very red. Her whole skin is very red. She doesn't have any type of hair, eyebrows, eyelashes, and very, very few hair. But this teenager was so happy. She was so sweet. She was so bubbly. I really connected with this girl. She was adorable. And he is even more adorable the way he connects with them. So he interviews them on camera, and then he goes in the camera and he talks to them. And he treats them as an equal. In no moment he makes them to feel strange. And he's very direct, asking like, how do you feel? What do you tell people about your disease or your disability or your situation? And he allows the kids to talk. And I saw 2 interviews yesterday. One girl, she was very young. She was, I think, like 5. So, and she had a problem that she couldn't talk. So her mom was the one giving the interview, and her older sister. And you could also see so much love there. The kid had many different issues, and one of them was microcephalia. It's a microcephalia in Portuguese, when the brain it's smaller than the normal size brain. And this kid was very agitated, moving without stopping. And very difficult for the mom to give the interview because she's always moving her body. And at one time, he sits next to the little girl, and he takes the guitar, and he starts playing the guitar very fast, the way she was moving. And she was very agitated, and she touches the guitar, and she feels the vibration. And instead of moving her whole body, she starts moving just the legs. And she starts smiling, and she starts being happy, being very excited, but not nervous, but happy. And then he brings back the mom, and the mom starts saying that music is the language of love. And she said music unites all of us. Anyway, the point is that I brought here is that when we see these kids, it's very hard for us. It's very hard to see a very young kid suffering so much, going through such a hard time. And most of the time, the moms going from a hard time. It's very sad for us to say that there are wonderful fathers who stay there all the time, working and helping and doing the best. But unfortunately, there's a huge portion of fathers that when the kid has this issue, they abandon the kid. And the mom is the one who really stays and who really fights for the best of the son or the daughter. So in our narrow point of view, we only see that situation. We only see pain, suffering, difficulties for the kids and for the parents. How we can't see it. So this is what the Spirit is saying. So the Spirit is saying here, let me read a little piece, so just for you to understand. So he's talking about the difficulties of life, of poverty, tears, betrayal, all kinds of issues. And he says, yes, it is misfortune for those who see nothing but the present. However, true misfortune is found more in the consequences of a thing than in the thing itself. Tell me if an event that is most happy for the moment, but which leads to disastrous consequences, is not really more unfortunate than the one that at first causes a great vexation, but ends up resulting in good. Tell me if the storm that snaps your twigs, but purifies the air, dissipating unhealthy miasmas that would cause death, is not a blessing rather than a misfortune. And then he continues. In order for you to judge something, one must look at the consequences. That is why, in order to determine what is really misfortune or fortune, one must be transported beyond this life, because it is there that the consequences will be felt. So in his explanation, we are understanding that we cannot see the issues of these kids, for example, in one lifetime. Because if we analyze one lifetime, this is a misfortune. This is really difficult. That's why people that do not believe in reincarnation, that they only think there is only one life, this life, that's it. This is terrible. That's when they start judging God as a bad God, not as the God of love, the mother and father. He starts judging God as really terrible. Like, why God would do something so terrible to these children? Why God would make these mothers, these fathers, these sisters to suffer so much? So they can't understand. But when we know Spiritism and we understand the necessity of reincarnation, then it's different. Then we can see the situation in a broader picture, even if we don't know why. We don't know why these kids were born with these diseases, and why these parents, they have to take care of these kids. We don't know why. But having experience with many books that we read from many different mediums, and also the experience that I have and so many other people have working in the mediumistic meetings, where the spirits, they come crying, they come angry, they come telling the turmoils of their lives. And then they explain, when I was living, I did this, and this. And I discarnated, and now I'm suffering even more. And this is really bring us a different perspective. So we understand that whatever is happening in this lifetime is because we need. Yes, no one likes to suffer. No one enjoys suffering. Who is going to be like, yeah, I want to suffer? No one wants to suffer. But it's very different than suffering and pain. You know, suffering is that feeling that you start thinking, oh, poor me, I'm such a good person, and I suffer without a cause. And pain is, this is painful, it's difficult, it's not easy, but I will go through it and I will overcome it. That's different between suffering and pain. Both have both are very painful, but one brings you down, brings you to think you are suffering because of no reason. The other one is understanding I am in pain, it is difficult, but God has a reason to make me go through it. So I have to overcome it in the best way. So when we analyze reincarnation, when we read many books that talk about problems from past lives, if you have the opportunity to read Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, a fantastic author, or the books of André Luiz, you can understand why they go through this. Even the basic book of André Luiz, Nosso Lar, Astral City, gives you an understanding of this doctor who died, and when he reached to the spiritual realm, he ended up in the lower zones. You know, he was a normal man to the standards of the society of that time. He never killed anyone. He never did horrible things. He actually worked in the health of people, helping others. His secretary helped him to be even more helpful because she was very charitable, and she made him to receive few people without charging for the consultations. Anyway, so these all bring us this understanding that Angela, that's here right now, talking about Spiritism, Angela that understands a little bit more about the pros and the cons of certain things, was a very different Angela in the past, was a very different Angela in the past life, in the previous. We had so many reincarnations. It's hard to imagine how many reincarnations each person had. Hundreds, thousands. But the important thing is that every lifetime we are improving. As in the Spirit's book, we know that we don't go back. We are never going to be worse than what we were. We understand also that we can be stagnant. As the Spirit say, the lazy spirit, the one that did not do anything bad, but didn't do anything good either. So it's like, here was the lazy one, used the whole incarnation and did not progress, did not regress, but did not go ahead in anything. So we don't want to be like that. We want to go ahead. So who knows? Maybe I am here right now talking about the Spiritism, trying to make myself a better person, inspiring all of you to be better too, because maybe in a past life I was a bad religious person. Who knows? Maybe I was a priest, I don't know, any kind of religion, and I misused it, because all the religions are good. All the fundamental items of the religions, they are beautiful. They are all positive, elevating towards God. Doesn't matter the name you choose, Allah, doesn't matter. They are beautiful. But who are the wrong ones are the people. The people, men and women. They are the ones who misuse the teachings to be better for themselves. And then there are many consequences on it. So as we are always evolving, we are always improving. So sometimes we are able to improve a little bit in one item. Other people are able to improve a little bit in many different items. And there are people that are able to improve so much. Like, for example, Chico Xavier, Mother Teresa, that did like this unbelievable projects that didn't help just themselves, their families, and their friends, but helped the cities, helped the countries, changed the humanity. Mother Teresa, she is well known in so many countries. Chico Xavier nowadays is also well known in so many countries. Not because of Spiritism per se, but because of his charitable causes, because of his immense love, even from people from different religions or no religion, respected him because he was just goodness. He was just love. He did everything he could for the others, and he was just that most loving being you can imagine. So is really this type of people, they are the people that we have to inspire ourselves to be able to have a goal, to set up a goal, to be better. And this is exactly what the Delphi is mentioning here. And he ends with a beautiful paragraph too. He says, let me read here. May Spiritism enlighten you and reestablish truth and error in their true light, after having been so strangely deformed by your blindness. Then you will act like a brave soldiers who, instead of running away from peril, prefer the battles of a brave combat to the peace that will bring them neither glory nor promotion. What does it matter to the soldier to lose his weapons, equipment, and uniform in the fray, as long as he emerges as the victor and covered with glory? What does it matter to those who have faith in the future to leave their riches and their mantle of flesh upon the battlefield of life, provided their souls enters radiantly into the heavenly kingdom? So beautiful, so beautiful. So the end of his message is to tell us that many times life will be difficult, life will be painful, and death too, because when we are young, we never think about death. We just like we are young, this is like so far away, I don't even want to think about it. But then when we get older, when we start reaching to a age that the people very close to us, they start dying, it becomes very clear that it will happen. Even if we all know this is the only thing we are all gonna go through, then you start really revisiting it. How I'm gonna die? I'm gonna die well or badly? So when I say well or badly, it's like we don't know. We are also different. So every reincarnation, each person, maybe they did this similar things, but they have to address different points. So we live different and we die different. And we all dream about that perfect death. Oh, one day you are super healthy until you are 100 years old, and suddenly you have a heart attack and you die sleeping. This is like a romantic death. And that would be really a very good life and death, because you lived long perfectly and then you suddenly died. But we know that most of the time is not like that. Most of the time is not like that. And most of the time we have to go through longer periods of suffering to do a cleansing of our soul. It's not of our physical body, but of our soul. And this cleansing can be difficult. Can be difficult for you that are experiencing that, but it is also very difficult for the family members. The family members are the ones that are with you going through that difficulty. It's painful, it's sad, it's difficult, but we have to see it as a period that as long as it can look here, incarnated, it will be very short for the spirit. In the sense, explaining myself better, that maybe this longer period of suffering that we can say in earth, as the view of people, this longer period of pain is really the period that we need to be able to evolve faster in the spiritual realm. So let's say thank you, thank you, thank you every day for everything we have. And let's really think that the most important items are not the physical items that we have, but they are the items that we will carry in our souls. You know, are the beautiful acts of charity we have done for others, are the positive words that we told to our friends or to people that we don't even know and they need it. Think about the things that you have done. We all did. We all did something good. And we are still here, so we are still doing. So whenever something difficult happens to us and we have to go through that, we have to experience that pain, not suffering, pain, because suffering is, oh, poor me, I'm such an angel. No, we know we are not angels. So that pain, let's pray to God to give us strength so we will be able to overcome that difficulty in a positive way. We are going to be doing like the little girl that I just mentioned, that she had the difficulty, the disease in her whole skin. And when the kid, that the blogger was asking her if she liked to talk about her disease, she said, yes, I like to talk about, because I like to explain to people many things so they don't be afraid of me. So she said, they understand that I'm not contagious. I'm not going to pass this to anyone. They have to understand that my skin is very fragile. So they cannot touch me because it will cut me. So at the same time, she was laughing. I love to talk about it because it's a way that I can make friends. I love to know people. So she is the perfect example of positiveness in a very difficult and painful situation. And she's only 15. She's only 15. So we all can do it, but we have to understand that whatever difficulty we are going, it is momentary and it will pass. We don't know how long it will be. Maybe it will be in this lifetime. Maybe it will be a long cleansing. But whatever it is, we know it's necessary. And that's why the doctrine of the spirits, these beautiful teachings from the Master Jesus, brought us so much comfort, so much calmness, so much love, because we understand that soon we are going to be doing an upgrade and everything is going to start getting better and better and better. Isn't that wonderful? That's why I really, really appreciate Spiritism, because it opened my eyes to so many things that in the past I used to be very judgmental about it. Even about God. When I was young, I could not understand why kids suffered. So they were suffering so much. So I was judgmental without understanding. And because God is this loving mother and father, he teaches us. So the kids, when they are let be without any kind of guidelines and instruction, they become wild animals. And that's how God is. God establishes certain things. No, in this lifetime, you will have to go through this, this, and this. If you pass the test, well, next time, next life, you will be able to be free of this, and you will be able to improve in a different way. So that was the study for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me read the last messages here. So, Saul Souza, we are lucky and blessed to know Spiritism. Yes. Yes, exactly like I said. I'm so happy for that. So happy for that, because it brought so much light in my life and in the life of all the ones that I study. So we see things in such a different way, in a much more positive way. We have a much broader understanding of happiness, because we know it's momentary, and also unhappiness, because we know it's momentary. So my friends, thank you so much. I'm very happy to have you here. And I sincerely hope to see you in 2 weeks without any type of internet connection, computer problem, Facebook, whatever. Today I even have like my cell phone, because whoop, in case the computer didn't work, I was gonna work with my cell phone only. So thank you so much, and let's now do our closing prayer. So we are gonna be with this enlightened thoughts through the night, and we are gonna have wonderful dreams and have a wonderful morning, okay? Dear God, Jesus, our beloved Master, our dear older brother, thank you so much for bringing so much light in our lives, helping us to understand that everything is temporary, and the pain is also temporary, and that we are all evolving. And one day we will be able to be teaching others about these pains, that they will pass, and we will be in a different level of elevation, having already worked in all our difficulties in past lives, and we will be helping other spirits to evolve as well as we have been doing. Thank you so much. So be it. Thank you, my friends. It was a pleasure to be here. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know any questions, any comments, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks. And if you know anyone that would like to participate of the Loving Bags in Miami, please send me a message. It will be this Sunday, December 8th, 2 p.m. in Coconut Grove. We are going to distribute in downtown. Or you can even send a message to Carla. She is part of this group, Carla Marquez, and she will be also doing the Loving Bags in Broward County, and she will be distributing in Fort Lauderdale. And if you are in New York, you can talk to Elder from Inner Enlightenment. They will be distributing it in Manhattan. So my friends, God bless you all. See you soon. Bye.